should be in jail. Adam Schiff is not asking for a pardon. I think that's very interesting. We're going to hear him out. Welcome to John Mike Keene as we go over the Biden presidential pardons.
But can I just ask you about the presidential pardons? Do you think a preemptive pardon for you is warranted?
I've spoken on this before. I don't think the idea of a blanket pardon of some kind is a good idea, and I would recommend against it.
Even for yourself, have you communicated this to the White House?
I've communicated it publicly multiple times.
I think that's an interesting argument that he makes, an interesting answer. I'm not sure why. If I was going to be as jaded as I possibly can, and when I'm talking about Adam Schiff, I am about as jaded as I possibly can be. I can only assume that he doesn't like the idea that the power to pardon is about to pass into Trump's hand in 1 month. So maybe he doesn't want to set a precedent of this blanket pardons. He also may not want to admit guilt that he's a criminal in need of a pardon.
Well, the Constitution is quite broad. The pardon power is a plenary power. It really has no check from Congress or the courts. So the president has a lot of latitude here.
That's Jennifer Rubin, who is going to advocate for a lot of presidential pardons. Yeah, there's kind of a problem. It's a plenary power. It's foundational to the president. He can use it a lot. The only way that you can stop a pardon is by impeaching the president, which is probably why they wait to do all their pardons about 15 minutes before they leave office.
The reason why there are broad categories that I suggest is because Trump has made so many threats against so many categories of people.
Now, hold on there. If that's what justifies a pardon is the threats, think of the threats that Biden has made against people, against the oil industry, against drilling and fracking, against Second Amendment people, against all the mega MAGA Republicans, about J6ers. Should we preemptively pardon all of them?
I'm not inventing this. Donald Trump said he was going to go after election officials, for example, who operated during the 2020 election. That's a broad category of people that he may go after.
Wait a minute. Now, just who went after who? Trump may say he's going to go after election officials, might be Raffensperger, but who went after Trump? Fulton County DA? Fani Willis, did she not go after him and try and slap a felony on him and RICO charges and 18 of his co-defendants? I mean, that's the problem now, but we didn't start it. Republicans didn't start it. The Democrats started it, and now they're trying to end it.
But there are many people he could go after. He could go after Georgia officials, for example, who refused to come up with the votes that he wanted.
He could. He's not going after them. He does want to straighten out elections. I don't think you get to that by prosecuting Georgia officials.
So because Trump himself has laid out broad categories, journalists, election workers, the military generals who did not do his bidding or who said bad things about him after he left office, those people are the ones who are at risk, and they deserve protection.
I think he absolutely should go after those people. Maybe the only mistake he made is he shouldn't have talked about it before he was going to do it, to cue them on what he's going to do.
The president has the power to do that. He needs to lay out these categories with some degree of specificity, but it can cover the entire period of time that Donald Trump was in office.
And so far, there's no category that Biden is stating. It's just random and it's personal.
It was a total disgrace. He's leaving office in disgrace because of this pardon. And it's not just the pardon, it's the lying. Lied to the American people. According to NBC News, he and his top aides hatched a plan to lie to the American people. And then this week, he didn't even have the guts to go out to the White House podium and take questions about it. He sent Karine Jean-Pierre out there, who was also a part of the lying.
Personal preference to him. So don't look for any method. Don't look for any respect for the Constitution. I do like that this lady, Miss Rubin, is outing herself as just a political advocate. Trump should be able to pardon people purely for political reasons, pardon anyone he wants, including mass pardons of people who aren't found guilty yet in America, is what she's saying. I just want to keep bringing this up if Trump ever does it. Remember, they said it was okay.
It is not an admission that these people have committed any wrongdoing. In fact, he can say in the pardon, I do not believe these people have done anything wrong.
And no one will believe you. Just because Biden says, I'm not saying these people have done anything wrong to pardon. By the way, that is the tradition, is that usually someone has performed something wrong and they've been actually pardoned. They've asked for mercy. She's saying that you pardon them even though they didn't do something wrong, and we're not going to give you that luxury. I'm going to accuse everyone you pardon of the crime they're being pardoned for.
However, they have been threatened. And in order to maintain the proposition that the Justice Department is not weaponized, to use a phrase that the Republicans love.
We love that phrase because it's so accurate. The Justice Department has indeed been weaponized. You guys have walked it for 4 years. We don't know if Trump's going to weaponize his Department of Justice.
For the sake of unifying this country, will you concede the 2020 election and turn the page on that chapter?
No. No, why would I do that? But let me just tell you, when you say the country is deeply divided, I'm not the president. Joe Biden's the president.
But you're going to be the president.
No. I'm not the president. So when you say it's deeply divided, I agree. But Biden's the president, I'm not. And he has been a divider.
Or if we're just going to get justice.
I think President Biden would say that these people are deserving of protection. We need to stop this cycle of retribution.
And that is not what the pardon is for, to protect people preemptively. So this is going to be a breach. I think that's kind of what Adam Schiff is getting at, too. You know, Adam Schiff is a political man. He believes, I don't know if he believes in our rule of law, but he's certainly, as a politician, I don't think he wants to undermine their power.
And then she continued to gaslight the American people and the media. The American people ought to be pissed, but the media, the people who cover this White House, ought to be absolutely livid at the gaslighting and then the continued gaslighting and the hostility towards the idea of transparency. This is a monumental disgrace. You think 38, 39% job approval is low? Wait until we test him as he leaves office. He's going out of office as one of the least liked and most divisive presidents we've ever had.
With a presidential pardon.
Now, people don't have to accept the pardon if they don't want to. And there are many instances in which Trump may seek to harass people going forward. He may try to audit them. He may try to send out subpoenas. He may try to come up with other crimes for conduct in the future. But at least for this period of time, for a great many innocents, I think a broad pardon would, in fact, give them protection, give them peace of mind, and really kind of put Trump and his crew in the spotlight.
It's not going to put Trump in the spotlight. It's going to put Biden and his crew in the spotlight. This is going to be terrible marketing for the Democrats. Anyone that Biden preemptively pardons, it's going to be major news. Their only hope is that you'll forget about it by 2026 and 2028. And the internet will make sure that you don't forget about it.
Threatening a whole swath of Americans is un-American, is not in keeping with our democratic traditions. And let him explain why he thinks he has to go after a whole cadre of Americans.
He's not going after them as a group. He's going after people who specifically broke the law. Anyone who broke the law. Biden's going to try to pardon all these people who broke the law. We don't know if he's going to do it or not. I think the Democrats right now are weighing, is this something we really want to do? Do you really want to open that Pandora's box? When the Democrats have already seen all of their tactics that they've used over the last year or two, lawfare, trying to break up the family, support the trans issue, open up the southern border, they've seen all their schemes and scams backfire.
And you know where he divided it more than anything else, and it probably backfired on him, I think definitely, is weaponization. When he weaponized the Justice Department and he went after his political opponent, me, he went after his political opponent violently because he knew he couldn't beat him. And I think it really was a bad thing, and it really divided our country.
Sir, Democrats have control of the White House now. They didn't in 2020. If they are going around stealing elections, why
when you
didn't
say
they do it
Democrats
this
have
time?
control now
Of the White House.
Yeah.
To the people who say that You're now directing your Justice Department to investigate 2020, and they want to move on.
Very capable. I think Pam is going to be great.
Precious resources.
By the way,
is that what you want them to do?
Just so you know, I have the right to do that, but I'm not interested in that.
Oh, you're not. You're not going to do that.
I'm not interested.
Okay.
I have the absolute right. I'm the chief law enforcement officer. You do know that. I'm the president. But I'm not interested in that. You know what I'm interested in? Drilling and getting prices down and stopping people from pouring into our border that come from prisons and mental institutions.
In the worst way, and the American people have the lowest view of Democrats and liberals than ever. Do they really want to emphasize that again? You know, I think the Democrats want it. I don't know if Biden wants it, but they're okay with breaking every norm and go, we'll pay the price later. I'm John Mike Keene.